Hello, gearheads and thrill seekers. Imagine this. A place where class and speed come together like never before. That's the Aston Martin F1 Club for you. It's like getting a VIP ticket to the coolest party in the racing world. We're talking about peeking behind the curtain, hearing those engines roar up close and soaking in the fancy vibes of Aston Martin. Whether you're a total racing nut or just dipping your toes in, Aston Martin is something you must know. But is it really like that? Or it's just the gold foil over some spoiled meal? The recent incidents give strange doubt to all the above statements. Let's find out. Fernando Alonso showed that insane performance leaps were possible with 5 podiums in the first 6 races and made it 6 in the first 8 as well before things started going downhill for the team. This is the story of the early season of Aston Martin. Since Fernando's last podium appearance 4 races ago, Lance Stroll has had difficulty accruing more than a few points. This is not just a problem with the car no longer matching the track anymore, so what is going on? Aston Martin is lagging behind the teams around them in the development race. Mike Krack, the team manager, disagrees with Fernando Alonso's theory and believes there are additional factors at play. Follow along as we explore the issues at Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso has returned to the dominant force of the mid-1990s that we grew up watching on television. His AMR 23 performances have been outstanding, putting his teammates to shame. The Spaniard leads Lance Stroll in qualifying 10, 2, finishing positions 11, 1, and Drivers' Championship points 149, 47. In percentage terms, the top 6 teams have the largest point differential. The bottom 4 have so few points that the data is horribly excused. For the first 8 or 9 races of the season, it appeared that he would be the only driver to challenge the Red Bulls, but that all changed when we arrived at Silverstone for round 10. Pirelli changed the construction of its tyres when the paddock visited England. The change in tyre construction was made in response to the unexpectedly rapid increase in downforce of the 2023 cars compared to last year, despite raising the floor edges and diffuser throat height to reduce the risk of pour per sink. Pirelli estimates that the increase in vertical load on the front and rear axles since last year is 15%, which is higher than the predictions based on data from the teams, necessitating the need to modify the construction. Also, it appears to be a coincidence that when the new Pirelli tyres arrived at Silverstone, a couple of teams were struggling more, and a couple of teams are now very pleased with the car. His claims seem reasonable. The construction of the tyres has a significant impact on how the cars perform. All of the data from the previous 9 races on the old construction was used to tune setups and bring upgrades, but now that the construction has changed, all of that data must have an asterisk next to it. It is not useless, but when it comes to race car setup, it is like driving a brand new car. Alonso has expressed his displeasure with the decision to change the tyres in the middle of the season, claiming that in sports, you do not change the balls in the middle of a tennis tournament, which is what happens when we change tyres here. That was an interesting analogy, but you get the point. The teams would be furious if they made the balls harder halfway through a World Cup. However, just because his claims appear reasonable does not mean they are. When asked about it before the race in Hungary, Aston Martin's performance director Tom McCulloch stated that the team is still learning with those tyres. He also stated that when the team first tried them in Friday practice in Barcelona 2 months ago, there were no significant differences. According to him, the impact of the tyres and the changes the team has had to make to accommodate them has been minimal thus far. We measured the tyres so that we could compare them side by side in Barcelona, as many other teams did, so there are not any major changes at this point. More than just car balance can be affected by tyre changes. Because of the importance of the aerodynamic turbulence coming off the front wheels, even minor changes can have a significant impact on the car's aerodynamic map. Furthermore, changes in tyre shape can affect ride heights or necessitate significant changes in camber or associated suspension settings. Given the importance of the tyre contact patch, the overall stiffness of the tyre can shift and cause issues. In the past, in-season tyre changes had a significant impact. For example, following multiple tyre failures at the British Grand Prix in 2013, Pirelli made a significant change to the tyre shape. This affected the aerodynamics and ride heights. This is because the change had to be more dramatic, which is not the case this year. In Silverstone, Alonso stated that the team needed to make it to the summer break before resetting. In Budapest, he added that Aston was now only the fifth fastest. It is difficult for us to understand a little bit better what the car is doing now compared to the beginning of the season, how many upgrades we brought compared to our main competitors, and then understanding the new tyres the best, the two-time champion said. Alonso understands that tyre changes are bad for everyone. Aston Martin's problem is that they have not been able to understand the changes as well as those around them. Part of this is due to the timing of some vehicle upgrades. Aston Martin launched its most recent major upgrade in Canada in mid-June, and the team has struggled to fully comprehend it since then. McLaren has made significant progress, with Mercedes and Ferrari following suit. Aston Martin's changes in Austria, the United Kingdom and Hungary have all been circuit-specific rather than car-wide. The theory that the team was hampered by a lack of understanding of their new upgrades was confirmed at the Belgian Grand Prix. Ted Kravitz, Sky's pit lane reporter, was asked where Aston Martin's performance has gone. "I have an answer for you about where their pace is gone," Ted said. Both team principal Mike Krack and performance director Tom McCulloch confirmed this. The team was perplexed by Canada's upgrades. According to the chief engineer, sometimes installing an upgrade package on the car works. It arrived at the worst possible time. The improvements came in Canada, where they were second only to Max Verstappen. Fortunately for Aston Martin, the uncertainty surrounding the impact of their upgrades has arrived at the ideal time. The summer break has arrived, and the teams have 4 weeks to go over their data and figure out how to fix the car's problems. Sure, they are supposed to take a 2-week vacation, but we all know that rarely happens. Despite their recent struggles, they still have a fantastic weapon in Fernando Alonso, who plans to lead the team to the front of the grid in the future. "Target is to keep growing as a team," Alonso said. "We're finding some obstacles right now, dealing with some extra performance from our opponents, our lack of performance in certain circuits, and these kinds of things, which I find very interesting and very useful for us as a team to grow up. So I'm quite optimistic." Fernando's contract with Aston Martin is set to expire at the end of next season, but if the team continues to perform at this level, the Spaniard will undoubtedly want to stay longer. The next race on the calendar is the Dutch GP on August 27th, and Aston Martin has planned upgrades to help them re-establish their position as Red Bull's closest competitor. While some of Aston Martin's competitors are shifting their focus to their 2024 cars, Mike Krack says his team will stick with its current challenger. "We're not switching off the tap," he said about development. "It's full on." Do you believe Aston Martin is still the most likely team to take a race win from Red Bull this season? Or do you believe their recent struggles will hold them back? With this, we have come to the end of this session. Stay tuned to be in touch and keep yourself updated with the F1 world.